I believe Mark Donovan. Say what you want. I know a lot of you don't. I've seen the feedback on social media. I'm buying everything he's saying. Happy Friday. Yeah, it's a preseason Red Friday. Chiefs, of course, their one home preseason game kicking off tonight at Arrowhead Stadium against the Chicago Bears. So we'll get to plenty of that throughout the morning. But Chiefs president Mark Donovan took to the podium yesterday. And, of course, this came hours after a bombshell report. Yep, the old bombshell.
Talk about a bombshell.
From the Kansas City Star's Sam McDowell saying that a gunshot ended up in Andy Reid's office in May of 2024. And the biggest question surrounding this, obviously we know it's an investigation. Thank goodness Andy Reid's okay. But the biggest question is, what does this mean for these teams, especially the Chiefs, possibly leaving Kansas City, Missouri? And for the Chiefs in particular, leaving Arrowhead Stadium. Is this one of those things that will push them to Kansas? Was this a carefully crafted and timed piece by the Chiefs or somebody else who's trying to get this team across the state line, right? We talked about it a lot yesterday. Well, Mark Donovan was asked that question point blank. Does this news have any impact on this franchise deciding where it's going to play for the next 20, 30 years? And here is what the Chiefs president had to say.
You know, it really doesn't. I think in any situation, just echoing what I just talked about, in any situation you have to be fully prepared no matter where you go. It's something that we will be fully prepared no matter where we go. So it really doesn't have an impact.
Now, at first I watched that clip and I was like, I don't buy it. I don't. I'm not buying it. And I was trying to play body language expert. You know, friend of the show, Bill O'Reilly. You remember the end of the heyday of the O'Reilly Factor he would have on these body language experts? And it was actually great content. If you are a longtime Fox News viewer, and I've got to ask Bill about that segment when he comes on the show next year in a couple of weeks. But he would have on these body language experts, and they would analyze politicians and celebrities and TV people, and it was great. And I like to play amateur body language expert. And immediately as Donovan starts answering that question, he starts looking down. He doesn't make eye contact. And I'm like, he's not being honest. No. But then I went back. In my amateur body language expert experience, and I looked at every one of his answers from the press conference yesterday. And basically every answer he gave about this topic, he immediately looked away. So it wasn't unique to that answer. Every answer he gave at this press conference on this story, the Andy Reid bullet story, he looked away when he answered the question. So then I took a step back. I dropped my amateur body language expert cap for the moment. And I said to myself, okay, what actually makes sense here? This happened. This bullet ends up in Andy Reid's office at midnight on May 4th of 2024. It's 3 months after the Super Bowl parade shooting, and it's about 6 weeks prior to Kansas having a special session where they passed the Star Bond, and it's a month after Jackson County voters go to the polls and basically say pound sand. Now, they mostly said that to the Royals, not the Chiefs, but the Chiefs were along for the ride, unfortunately for them, right? That would have been the time. If you're like, this Star Bond deal's a slam dunk, that would have been the time to do it last summer. And you could have said, Kansas City can't keep us safe. They can't keep you safe. Jackson County voters told us, no, we're done. That's it. That would have been the perfect time. You would have had all these things stacked up in your favor to say Super Bowl parade shooting. Voters said no. Andy Reid's got a bullet in his office. We got to put in bulletproof glass to keep this guy safe. And, oh, thank you, Kansas, for the Star Bonds. All of those things happened in a 4-month span last year. February, April, May, and then June. Yet we're sitting here 14 months later, and they still have not run into the arms of Kansas. And they ask Missouri to go pass a statewide issue and have a special session to be competitive, supposedly, with Kansas? Kansas hasn't brought anything more to the table here. All they've done is basically extend their star bond for another 6 months. The offer's there till the end of the year, and that's that, right? I mean, that's basically all Kansas has done. Their deal has not gotten any sweeter. And if you're sitting on a deal and it has not gotten any sweeter, yet your opponents, theoretically, the state of Missouri, has sweetened their deal, and they had the upper hand to begin with because they've got the, I'll call it, home field advantage. Well, I believe Mark Donovan when he says this Andy Reid story with gunshots ending up in his office last year don't play any impact on their choice for a future stadium location. It just makes sense. Even if right off the bat you're like, I don't know if I believe that, it just doesn't make any sense. So I'm buying it. I believe him when he says that. And I know some of you, and I got it yesterday, are like, oh, man, there's no way that he's being forthright about that. No, I think he is. Because if that was the thing that kind of broke him, that made him say, we're going over to the Kansas side of the state line, why are we sitting here 15 months later? Why did they waste their time lobbying the state of Missouri to pass a statewide offer so they could retain some of the earnings out at Arrowhead Stadium? Why? Why would they have gone that route if they were just done with Kansas City and done with the state of Missouri? That's wasting everybody's time, including their own, and their own political goodwill and capital. That wouldn't make any sense. So I think this ended up being just an unfortunate incident that they look at in hindsight and say, boy, we've got to do a better job on keeping people safe. And that's part of what Donovan said yesterday as well when he was like, listen, we're going to have 70,000 people here tomorrow night, tonight, Friday night. It's our job to make sure people feel safe. And you know what? Credit to him. He's right about that, John.
Young Pete. Now, I'm with you on this. You're looking at the specific event and focus on it, and I can't say I disagree with you, but I would also say that there's a bigger thing afoot here in laying down layers of images. This is just a story, right? And perhaps another one will come up, and perhaps another one will come up, and it won't be any one of those stories that would drive them to Kansas, but it'll just be the cumulative public perception.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that opportunity was there last year and they didn't take it.
I'm with you on the timing there. I don't know that. I think this is a public perception game. It doesn't really have anything to do with their business decision.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that.
That's what I think may be happening here.
I just think that if they sat there and they said, hey, you know what, we're done. Mm-hmm. Right?
We could have made the decision long ago. Could have been well on our way. We could have broken ground, been dozing dirt, right?
Yep, exactly. So then if this was a year ago, I'd feel much worse about it. I'd say they're going. But now I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, this comes out. Why now? And why are we sitting here 15 months after the fact? That's the part I can't figure out. And if you've got the answer at 913-408-7957, I mean, please bring it to the table. Because I've been racking my brain on this one, and I can't get a read on it. But I don't think that this is like the drip of setting the foundation, setting the stage for a bolt over to Kansas. Because if you wanted to do that, the opportunity was 12 months ago. And why would you be sitting here dragging your feet over it? You can convince me otherwise, but I'm not there right now. 913-408-7957, our text line and our studio line on KCMO. On the text line, Pete, as a Canton, Missouri will always screw things up if they can. Well, that's
such a nice man.
Come on, can we be nice to each other on a Friday, please? It's a Friday. Chiefs are playing at home. Can we be nice to each other on the text line? Is that too much to ask? It might be. It just might be. I'll try my best to make that happen if I can. Coming up on KCMO Talk Radio, it is the 1-year anniversary of a tragic event in Kansas City. And it ties into what has been a national story of the moment. We'll talk about it next on KCMO.